Welcome to In Pursuit with Pastor Bill.
Hey, I'm just a simple guy in pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, wild game, fish that swim under the ice, tender smoked meat, tasty grilled meat, and Denise.
In this hour, we are going to be talking about all of that and a whole lot more. Bill has been with Maranatha since 2005 and the campus pastor at Maranatha Chisago Lakes campus since 2011. Come along and join In Pursuit.
Well, here we are back once again on our every Thursday from noon to 1 In Pursuit.
Super. It's good to be back.
Show.
I wasn't here last week.
You weren't here last week.
Yeah.
You were sick last week, right?
No.
Oh, that's right. You were with
Ted.
Millie and Teddy. That's
Yeah.
right. Yep, that's right. You were sick before that.
I was, but I was here.
That's right. Yeah. It's been a crazy couple weeks.
It has.
But it's good to be here. We're excited to have all of you joining us.
We love it.
Right here on WAJC, Your Life Radio, 91.7 in the Forest Lake area and 88.1 in the East and Southeast Metro.
Nicely done.
Thanks. There's a sign I get to read.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's see. We have a skeleton crew a bit today.
We do.
Do I look like a
I
skeleton?
was going to say, Alice, you're our skeleton.
Wow.
You're running things. You're flying solo today, 100%.
Yes.
Very exciting.
That's great.
Doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it very much because we would have walked in and just sat here if you weren't here. I don't know what we would have done. Taken selfies or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you very
you're
much.
welcome.
Shane and James are indisposed
Yes.
for today. So Alice is running things. Denise and I are in the booth, and we're excited about today. As always, I would like to ask if you're listening, please shoot one of us a text if you have any of the three of us. If you have our cell phone numbers, shoot us a text. I know for sure I got a note from our station manager, Jenny Gaskill, and she is listening in the car with the women's retreat team. So, ladies, thanks so much for listening.
Hope you're having fun.
Yeah. Hope you guys
Exciting.
have a really, really great weekend up there.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I actually got to go and be a part of, very limited, but I got to go and be a part of this whole women's retreat thing.
It was good to have you there.
I got to say, it was an experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's things I'm sworn to secrecy, but I do know that you ladies are going to have a good time, and the Lord is going to move mightily.
Mightily.
There's no doubt
good.
about that. Yeah, I'm very excited for you ladies to get to do that. So drive safe and have fun. And thanks for listening. Again, to the rest of you, if you're listening, please shoot us a note. And I just want to remind you of this. If you happen to hear something you like here on WAJC, you can find all of this on the different church websites. You can go to yourliferadio.com. You can go to realchurch.org, maranathachisago.org, church. You can also go anywhere you might listen to a podcast, and you can find these podcasts or these shows in podcast form. And Pastor Mike has a live show as well, like this, only it is Friday mornings from 8 to 9 a.m. So go and check that out. His show is Something to Think About, and that's what he likes to do. Tries to give us things to think about. So it's a good show. Check that out. But it's very, very fun to be here. Before we get too far down the road, I do want to just pause real quick. Today is the National Day of Prayer, if I'm not mistaken. You know what? I might be a week or two ahead on that, actually.
I think you are a week off.
You know when it is? It's next Thursday. That's right. So if you are in the Forest Lake area, I know that a bunch of the different churches, they gather together. I believe it's at the American Legion, and they do a National Day of Prayer service and just a gathering, so check that out. But wherever you're listening, I would encourage you to take part in that. And I do believe that Denise is looking up right now, but I believe it's next Thursday. Maybe somebody can text me that.
Oh,
so
May
that,
1st. Yep.
Yeah, so next Thursday, May 1st. Hey, Cindy Noble, back at the Chisago campus, is listening to us. Thank you so much, Cindy. We appreciate that. So just to catch you guys up on a couple of different things that we've been talking about lately, I'm not sure if you're aware, but it is turkey hunting season. And
I'm aware.
you are aware, yes. Unfortunately, I have not made it out, which is kind of pathetic because I get so excited about it and hearing the gobbling. We were sitting on our front porch a week or two ago, and we heard a gobble, and so I got my turkey call. And sitting on the front porch, I was kind of squawking on that, and we got one responding to us a couple times.
That was cool.
Yeah, it's very fun. But then I stopped because I'm like, okay, if this guy comes barreling in, we're sitting on the front porch. At the time, I didn't even have my license, so we stopped and just let him go to rest. But yeah, haven't been out. I got a blind set up now though, so hopefully in coming days, I will be able to get out and watch for a nice long beard to come walking by.
Yeah, shoot it, babe, shoot it.
Yeah, that's the goal. Mm-hmm. This morning we were in the dining room looking out over the front yard into the pasture, and we saw, I think there was 4 hens that I saw just kind of meandering through, and they actually they had to have walked either right in front of or right behind my blind with where they were at. So that's cool. That did that because I just set it up yesterday and it didn't scare them. So that is a good thing.
It's a good sign. Yeah, I love it. I love eating wild turkey. So get out there, babe, and shoot something.
Yeah, to clarify, she said eating wild turkey.
Yeah.
Not drinking wild turkey.
Did I say drinking?
No.
Oh, oh, now I get it.
Just
Sorry.
making sure we're
a
all
little
on the same
delay.
page. Yeah.
Not really my world.
Yeah, but we are excited, very, very excited. A young man at our church, Connor, he shot his first turkey this year, and he got a really nice big tom. He and his friend were hunting together, and 2 toms come in, and so they were going to do kind of the 3, 2, 1 shoot thing. Yeah. And they're right there. They were shotgun hunting. And they went to shoot, and there was a problem with his friend's gun.
Oh, no.
The safety wasn't completely off, or there was a jam or something.
Shoot.
So, yeah, they were bummed. Connor got his, but that would have been a pretty cool story for 2 kids.
Yeah.
That
would have been neat.
Yeah. Pretty fun. So that's the deal with that. We haven't smoked anything this week.
No, we just kind of been recovering.
Yeah, this was a
Easter.
Crazy week and a half. So, yeah, we didn't smoke anything.
A lot even.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, on our Easter services, got into the message, and because everybody makes these big meals for Easter, hams and turkeys and what have you, and so one of the questions I asked is this. I said, is anybody smoking anything? And then I just left it right there, which I know I'm about as dorky and immature as they come, but that just cracked me up. I mean, it absolutely cracked me up.
It cracked a lot of people, but there was a good pause before they started chuckling. Yep. It's like, what did he just say?
Yeah. I saw a lot of husbands look at their wives thinking, am I supposed to confess this right now? Or but of course, we were talking about smoking meat, and I think some people had a couple hams in smokers. Most people were going home to put a ham in the oven, is what I understood. So, yeah. I got a text from Megan Erkey. She is listening again. Thanks, Megan, for being faithful every Thursday. And she said, I got a turkey with my windshield yesterday morning.
Oh, no.
It's amazing how they can jump up out of the ditch so fast.
Yeah. Well, there was a car when you were driving home on your motorcycle last year. A car in front of you, and a turkey just went up right in front of it. And I was just so thankful that it was their car and not you on your motorcycle.
Yeah.
Because they just plowed into it.
Nailed it. Yeah. It just out of nowhere, right in front. And it was a Jeep, and just man, he just nailed it. He pulled over, so I pulled over in front of him and kind of went back, and he said the same thing. He's like, man, I'm so glad that hit my car. Because, yeah, I mean, you got to figure that's a 20, 25-pound bird, and all of that mass they bring with it,
At 55 miles an hour. on a motorcycle, that would have,
Yeah, 55, give or take.
yeah, give or take. I was on the right deal, so I was being,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
so I was
they-
just thankful. But they do. They can jump, and
Yeah.
you have no warning.
Last night when we were driving home,
Yeah.
I was on the motorcycle because we drove separately and went into Wednesday night class, and I was following you, and all of a sudden you hit your brakes, and so I'm looking around, and there were hens on either side of the road, female turkeys on either side of the road.
Yeah.
Even as slow as I was going, it's like I'm just waiting for one of these to just get spooked and
Scared.
jump.
Yeah. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh no, because I didn't want to scare him and have him jump out and hit you.
Yeah. So when I went by, I revved my engine.
Did they
the
did they
bike.
walk away?
They didn't even flinch. They did. It's like they didn't care a bit. I think they spend a lot of time on the edge, just picking through the gravel and stuff, and so
Yeah.
I'm sure they get very used to
Cars going by.
the traffic going by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, all the animals are moving now in the fall. I mean, like in the spring, because
Yeah.
they're getting ready to give birth, and
And there's more
looking
people
for
in the
food.
woods.
Yeah, looking for food.
Yeah. And it's fun to see, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to wait for 5 minutes on a road while a herd of deer just meandered across.
Oh,
They
really?
weren't in any rush.
Wow.
So,
Fun to see, though.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
very fun to see.
Yep. Yeah. Wildlife is cool. That's one of the things I love about living out where we live. Just, and same where you guys are at. Just, there's so much wildlife.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we saw a rare sighting of a bunny. We rarely have
Yeah.
bunnies up by the house.
it's
I don't know why, but
I don't know why either, because we don't have a dog or anything like that.
yeah.
Do you guys, Alice, at your place, do you have a lot of bunnies running around?
We only have one.
Oh.
She has a litter every spring, but then the cat gets all of the babies.
Oh, no.
So then that's that.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, that would be why you don't have bunnies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we don't, because we know they're around, because, I mean, they're there. So, yeah, it was kind of fun to see a bunny running through today.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Easter bunny finishing things up,
Oh, maybe.
playing on
Running
the
a
playset.
little behind.
Yeah, it was running a little behind. Yeah, speaking of Easter, what an exciting time of year as a believer.
It really is.
You know, the churches, it's like everybody you talk to that has anything to do with the church world, they're excited about this time of year. You know, there's churches have choirs. I know I watched the Forest Lake campus. I went back and watched their Easter service. They had a choir of kids up on the platform.
Aww.
Yeah, very cute. And I saw, I don't know if Pastor Tina was up there, but I think I saw Pastor Gail, and she's up there jumping around, and she's like
She's
the
amazing.
Energizer Bunny. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so there's just so much of that kind of stuff, and people are excited, and it's neat. So I know here at the Forest Lake campus, they just had an amazing Easter egg hunt. And don't quote me on this. I know it's thousands of eggs. It's possible that I saw somewhere they had 15,000 eggs.
That's a lot of eggs.
It is, yeah. They do it wonderfully here because they have different sections where they hide the eggs for different age groups.
That's smart.
Yeah, so like they have a place set in the back, a little fenced-in area. So I think they hide eggs in there for the real tiny little ones.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
cute.
different stages. So like your 1-year-old's not going to get trampled by the 15-year-old
Yeah.
or the 53-year-old, which would be me.
My family did a big Easter egg hunt every year, and we had different sections. Like the front of the yard was for the littles, and then the back pasture, we would hide the eggs super hard for the teenagers, and there would be money in those eggs. Not all of them, but, money in some of them. So
Yeah.
it progressed with the size of the kids.
Yeah.
It just works well.
It's a great way to do it.
And a 1-year-old doesn't care if they get a $5 bill.
No, but their dad does.
Yeah.
So
Did
yeah,
you eat your kids' Easter Easter candy?
absolutely.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Especially when they're young like that. They're not going to eat all those jelly beans.
I did a little Easter egg hunt for my grands when they were little, and I put like raspberries and blueberries and stuff like that in the eggs.
Were they so excited?
They were. They were so cute.
Yeah,
They'd
that's
open
sweet.
it up and put a raspberry, and their whole mouth was full, which is one raspberry,
That's funny.
as they're walking back to their dad with the egg. We did the egg hunt in the house, so they were little, and it was fun.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Cute.
Yeah, very cute. So they did that here at Forest Lake campus. And then obviously at both campuses, we had our Good Friday services. I love that service, you know.
That's a powerful service.
Yeah, to me, it's almost like no matter what you do in the service, because I know at Chisago, we've done different things over the years.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that your entire focus is on the crucifixion and what he did for us on that cross.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so beautiful. Jenny Gaskell texted me that 15,000 eggs is correct. That's unbelievable.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of eggs.
That's a lot of eggs.
Ooh.
15,000.
I feel sorry for the person who had to fill them.
They had a whole team of volunteers that came in over, if I'm not mistaken, again, you know, a couple weeks prior to. Even, I think someone told me they brought some home. They brought like a couple of bags home, and then they filled them at home. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but that's the other exciting thing is it's not like you just have the pastor and the worship leader and the staff. It's like you get your church and they all get excited about these types of things. You know, it's that springtime, that Easter season. It's just wonderful.
It is. Yeah,
you know?
It is.
Yeah. So then obviously, you know, then the Easter Sunday, or like in our case, we do a Saturday and then the Sunday services. Again, it's exciting because you just got done focusing on Jesus dying, and now everything changes because he walked out of that tomb. I mean, it's just exciting stuff.
Yeah. It's the reason for our hope.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
We serve this God who is alive. He didn't stay dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a statue, he's not a picture, he's not a building. I mean, you know, like Paul says, he doesn't live in temples made by human hands, you know?
Right.
He's unstoppable, he's unshakable, he's unchangeable. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah, it's a fun, exciting time of year, I think, for everybody, but for, as a believer, just to turn your focus on the fact, like, yeah, my God's alive. You know, he walked out of that tomb, and just, it's so fun to remember and to focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a very exciting week. I'm always excited to hear, because, you know, there's always people that they'll go to church, you know, on Christmas and Easter or something, and I got to tell you, I maybe look at it differently, but I'm excited if you happen to catch this podcast or listening, and you're a kind of a twice-a-year churchgoer. I mean, obviously my prayer will always be for you that you would get involved in a body, but I just think it's exciting that you're in church and you're hearing the gospel, and I'm always excited to hear about what happens now with all of the seeds that were sown during these very, very powerful services.
Yeah. Because the seeds, they can change your eternity. The seeds that have been sown this week can change someone's eternity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure can. Yeah, and change the direction of your life, and I mean, just those decisions that are made, and then you take that with you. It's really unbelievable what can happen. And I just can't wait to hear it.
Pretty cool.
We had a few people, because I think most evangelical churches, they do some kind of an altar call on Easter just for people to give their life to Jesus and get saved and be born again, and opportunities maybe to come back to the Lord if you've wandered, just to, you know, give them a chance to do something.
Yeah, you've been presented with the gospel message, so here's an opportunity to act on that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I can just think back, like just of this last weekend at our campus. Man, some of those faces are still, they're just burned into my brain and on my heart, of knowing some of the struggles and the ups and downs, and these people that are just, they're wanting to turn to God to find that hope, and to remember that, hey, you know, life is going to be hard. There's no promise of an easy life.
Right.
But that God is still God, and he's unchangeable, and he's unshakable. And that's just who he is.
Yeah.
And I just see those faces even now in my head, and the tears, and it's just beautiful. Man, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
God is so good, isn't he?
He sure is.
Yeah, he is. He absolutely is. Yeah, so that's all just kind of exciting things to get to share with you all. We do have a topic.
Oh, super fun.
The topic today, just to introduce it, and then we'll do our break and the word of the week, and then we'll get into it a little bit. But the topic is being in pursuit of a good investment. In pursuit of a good investment. And I know some of you might be thinking stock market. Some of you are probably sick of thinking stock market because a bit of a roller coaster ride right now. But yeah.
I thought right away, is it money? But I'm like, we don't have any money.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I know that this isn't going to just be about money. We don't have any investments.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
So I knew it wouldn't just be about money.
Our investments live in a coop.
They do right now, and some of them in our dining room.
It's funny. Alice, we haven't told you about that. Those little the chicks we got a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're free
range.
They're free range dining room chickens right now. They just kind of wander around chirping away. Last night we went to bed and they were roosting on the back of a chair. Just out.
It's their chicken chair, though.
It's their
got
chair.
Their heat lamp on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It just, oh my gosh, they're funny
We
though.
didn't even put them away.
No,
it's
they
like,
just were terrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, but
we love them.
it's cute.
I do have a chicken right now who thinks she's an ostrich, and she is laying eggs twice the size of normal eggs.
Oh wow.
So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, pain sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Yowza.
Yeah. Well, let's head to our bottom of the hour break. But before we do that, a highlight of every single week, let's hear our word of the week.
Word of the week. This is the part of the show where Denise and Bill learn new words in pursuit of knowledge and understanding of the English language, and so they can sound smarter. Do we sound smarter when we do this word of the week?
Anytime I use one of your words of the week, people just look at me like, that doesn't fit you at all. You know, it's like when I put a tie on now. It's like, yeah,
True.
this
People
is
look
not
at you
you.
weird when you wear a tie.
If I walk through the doors with a tie on,
You look so good.
well,
but
you know what it is? It's like putting a fresh coat of paint on an outhouse. That's what me with a tie on is.
well, you look good with a tie, but you don't wear one very often.
I don't.
So anyway, our word of the week this week is not really a word. I'm a little bit excited about this word. I came across it online. It's a slang and trending word.
And you're sure you know what it means?
Well, I was online looking it up, so I'm hoping that it's the right definition.
And we know that
because
what you find
that
online
is always true,
Always
right?
true.
Always. Well, if I'm saying something bad, I apologize. It's an unintentional error. Anyway, our word of the week, which is not really a word, is blep. I'm so excited about this word. Blep. A blep is a term that gained popularity online when it became associated with pictures of animals with their tongues slightly sticking out. Isn't that so cute? A blep is an unintentional action, not a deliberate licking or grooming behavior, and is often seen as cute or comical.
What?
Yeah, blep. That's the word for that. An animal with its tongue sticking out a little bit. So then, picture this image description. A tabby Siberian cat faces the camera and a small sliver of tongue is peeping out of her mouth. And the caption says, zoom in for tiny blep. B-L-E-P, blep. So where does blep come from? It didn't really know. But it said blep is possibly based on the sound a human might make sticking their tongues out in imitation of their pet or another animal.
No, I'm trying. No, I'm sitting here. I'm trying.
Blep.
Blep.
Blep. Blep. I did that so many times when I started getting this word together. I'm like, blep. Because at first when I read it, I read it as belp, like help with a B. And I was reading this for probably an entire minute reading about this before I realized I had switched the E and the L around.
That's funny.
So then I said blep, 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 trying to just get it in my head. So anyway, that's it. Blep is used affectionately and highly approvingly. And we know if we don't use our fake new slang word, we will lose our new slang word. So I'm going to use it in my own sentence.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Bill chuckles.
I can't believe my name is in this sentence.
Your name is in every word of the week sentence, in case you haven't noticed.
I have.
Bill chuckles when he sees an animal blep, and then he wonders if chickens could ever have a blep. And that's our slang word of the week.
You're listening to In Pursuit with me, Pastor Bill, a production of WAJC, Your Life Radio on 88.1 and 91.7 FM. WAJC is owned and operated by Maranatha Assembly of God in Forest Lake, Minnesota. If you would like to visit Maranatha Chisago Lakes campus, we have 4 weekend services to choose from. Visit MaranathaChisago.org to learn more and to check out some past messages. We are back.
Yay. Oh, he's blepping right now. You can't see it, but he was. He
You know the
looked
thought
right
I
at
have is if the women's retreat team is still listening. Whoever's in that car is sitting there.
With their tongue.
Just with their tongue.
Somebody snap a picture of that and send it.
Blep. That's
Blep.
Funny. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you for that. That's good
thanks.
laughter.
It's
Made me
funny.
start coughing, but it's good laughter.
Yeah.
So we are in pursuit of a good investment. And now I think as I was thinking about this, I know some of the young people at our church that go back and listen to this as a podcast. And I think this is all applicable no matter how old you are. But I think there's something like this. I think this is a valuable reminder or heads up for some of the younger people that are kind of getting going in life.
Yeah.
In whatever ways, kind of finding themselves, determining who they want to be, and I think that planning for their future, kind of.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of talk in certain circles about planning for your future from a financial standpoint, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I remember when I was 18 years old, I started an IRA, just putting like $25 or $50 a month in it.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I ended up doing everything wrong. But now that I'm 53, I can look back and we're going to talk about when you make a decision, think about your future self. Okay. So amidst this part, I can look back and say, I'm not happy with my past self.
Yeah.
Because I started pretty good. It was there.
Yeah.
But then mismanaging things all throughout, kind of just changed everything. So it's funny because when you talk about our investments, I think once again of like, if I would have done it differently, we'd be doing okay. I mean,
yeah. And see, when I was younger, I didn't even have the thought to do that. Like that was just nowhere in my sphere of thought.
Yeah.
Or in my sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So it never even occurred to me. But
it's a great idea because if you think of, especially right now, $25 a month. I mean, if you just put $25 a month, actually a few years back, my daughters, I had been talking to them about that. They both have IRAs that they put $25 or $50 a month in, or Roths or something like that.
Super smart.
Yeah, and so now again, in being in pursuit of a good investment, it's the idea of now you put that there, and whenever you're tempted to mess with that, because that's going to build over years, and before you know it, it's thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, that you can mess with for a fine, obviously, a fee, penalty.
Yeah.
But if you, in those moments, if you think of your future self, get past that moment of temptation to withdraw it or use it for something today.
Right.
And think of yourself when you're in your 50s or 60s, and you think, okay, my future self is going to thank me for not touching that.
Yeah.
And just leaving it there.
Yeah. Well, when this came on my radar, I was reading something, and it said if you invest money in your 20s, you get like exponentially. Like if you, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, but if you start when you're 20, putting $50 a month, you'll earn $1 million by the time you retire.
Yep.
If you start at 30, you're going to earn 300,000. Like it is exponentially more by starting younger.
Yeah.
It's not like 50%. It's exponentially more
Right.
if you start young and leave it.
Right.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, wish I'd done that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
well,
or
and
you-
that's kind of what I think of. And again, some of the kids at church that tell me they'll go back and listen to this, like those are the people I'm thinking of. Is like, you might already be well on your way to a career and you're 25, 24, something like that. But you also might still be in college. And I think of all of the variable income, there's a
Disposable
income that we have, because if you think of what we spend our money on, I mean, most of us throw quite a bit away. Starbucks, Caribou. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And so if I think of like your average 25-year-old, if you right now just get that set up and start putting that away, you'll be so much farther ahead down the road. Again, thinking of your future self.
Investing in your future self.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a great term. Invest in your future self.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great way to say it.
Yeah. Well, you said it.
I thought you just said it.
No, you said it.
All right, well,
okay.
It's not as great of a way to say it, but it still gets the point
is
across.
a great way.
So we want to be in pursuit of a good investment from a financial standpoint. And I'll tell you a little story, because so when I was younger, I was in my mid-20s, and I was working at a place, and for whatever reason, they liked me. And it was a smaller company, but they treated their employees pretty well.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. And they saw something in me, and so they paid me very well, especially for, that many years ago now,
Yeah.
almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were paying me well. And I remember talking to my dad, and all I'm thinking of is the moment. I mean,
Right.
at this time I was partying, I was going to the bars, and
In your defense, your brain wasn't totally developed.
I understand that.
Okay.
But
I'm on your team.
I know, I know.
Always and forever.
But there's a lesson to learn
There
from my
is. Okay.
mistake.
Okay.
And so my dad's encouragement was save this for 6 months or a year and put a down payment on a house, because that's the other thing. You go back a ways, and it's amazing what you could get for a house for substantially less money.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I did was I was much more concerned about the moment than I was my future self.
Yeah.
And so what I bought was cars and trucks and motorcycles and partied and just did all of these things with my finances then, instead of utilizing it where it would benefit today.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you look back, like the house could be paid for right now had that been done properly.
Right.
And that's kind of what I think of. And with everything, I try and be a realist. You have to find that balance of it.
You do. That's what I was thinking. You want to enjoy your 20s.
Yep.
Yep.
But you also want to be thinking of your 50s and your 20s.
Yeah.
There's a difference between enjoying it and throwing it all away.
Yes.
Because
balance.
you really do. Now being in our 50s, I can look back and say, right now is when I'm paying for all of that. And I used to say, especially then, was like, you can't put a price on fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how big of a check I have to write, how many nights I spent at the casino. I mean, it was like, you can't put a price on fun. But now I want to call my past self and say, you're wrong. Because I'm paying for all your
price.
fun right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I get it, the balance of it.
Yes.
But there is a part where if you just stop and think for a second, okay, it's one thing to do this once in a while. It's another thing for this to be your lifestyle of just throwing your money away
Right.
without considering your future self.
Right.
And so that's why today I just think it's an interesting conversation to have of being in pursuit of that good investment and investing in that future self.
Yeah. And intentional living.
Yep.
Yeah. Not something I did very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's...
I didn't have a lot of money to throw away. I just never have. But there was no intentional thinking of that future investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think the natural thing is to think finances. I would even go, like, I look back and I can think, boy, I wish I would have handled all of my money totally differently, and whether you make a little or a lot, just to handle it properly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something now, is as much as I look back and think, I wish I would have handled my finances differently, much more than that. I would even say exponentially more than that. I wish I would have handled my character differently.
Yeah. Me too.
Because that's the kind of stuff that also affects your future.
It does.
And we don't think about that, because you see throughout life. I mean, you can go the extreme and talk about drugs and drinking and getting DWIs and arrested, or losing jobs because of drugs, all of that kind of stuff. So you can go to that extreme, and like, you can really change the trajectory, the direction of your life by just making those in the moment decisions.
Right. Well, I think about a person or a teenager who's driving after a party. They've been drinking.
Yeah.
They may get home safe, but they may not. They may kill someone on the way. And talk about changing the trajectory of your life in one decision. Yeah. One decision changes your whole life.
Yep, absolutely it does. Yeah. And it's happened to many people that we know.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens to a lot. And that's why, again, finding the balance in this, and I wish we had 2 hours to talk about this, because you don't want people to think, my whole life is screwed up now because of that decision. Well, it's going to affect your life, but that's where faith is so important, is he makes us new. Like, we get to do what we get to do, even in spite of
our poor decisions,
our past selves.
Yeah. And there's an understanding of the grace that God pours out, and he poured out on us, and just can't believe that we get to do what we get to do, because we don't deserve it.
All of that's because of who he is.
Absolutely.
And what he's done in our lives.
He as in God.
Yeah. So there's a scripture, and probably why this is on my mind is because we'll be performing a funeral tomorrow. But there's a scripture, and it's Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1. And I'm going to read you a couple different scriptures here that say the same thing. But in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1, it says, a good name is better than fine perfume. It's more valuable than that fine perfume. And I believe it's Proverbs 22, verse 1 says this, a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. And that verse 1, that a good name is more desirable than great riches, I just, like it's like somehow we could instill that into these young adults, Yeah. And I know we can say, they got to develop and they got to do all this, but there's still a way that we can teach and we can impart that kind of wisdom as somebody that's older. And there's a lot of people that did it right. They can look back and say, I think of my mom and dad. They started off with very little. He worked hard for many years. He put in to a union retirement. When he retired from the first job, he worked at the city. So they planned, and now their retirement, they're able to relax and they're able to enjoy life.
Right.
And so you have that where, that was handled pretty responsibly with the future in mind. And then you have me, where it's like, you just kind of screwed up a lot of things or made things a little bit harder than they had to be. Yeah. But the idea of our character, and I want to go back to that, just to think of the decisions that we make now and how is it being true to my character? Who I want to be. Because when I read that every time, what I read is who you are is so much more important than what you have.
Yes.
And so be in pursuit of a good investment in who you are. And I've been talking to a couple of kids going through some relationship stuff and just wondering what to do. And I told both of them that where you're at right now, you're at a point where the decisions you make are going to affect your future. Think of your future self with this decision you're making from a relationship standpoint.
Right.
Think of your future self with the decision you're making from a character standpoint.
Right. Not just the immediate pain or sorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's that pain and sorrow, those difficult times that cause us to go, and now we're jeopardizing our character and who we want to be.
I did all that wrong too. All of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
terrible.
and that's why it's like, hey, we're not here to, we got a great life. I mean, I want
We
you all to
really
understand.
do.
We have a
Yeah.
great life. We're
We
not
do.
millionaires. But our life is great. And
Yeah.
God has really done amazing things in our lives.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. Like, here we are. We got a few years left to live, hopefully.
Yeah.
But we've also lived quite a few years.
Yeah.
And to the younger person, just consider, that's all. Just consider this experience, because you're not here. We are where your future self is going to be.
Right.
Like, we are your future self that's going to look back and say, thank you that you walked through that hard time the right way.
Yeah. With your character intact.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Without giving into the sorrow or the desperation you may feel right now.
Yep.
Yeah. To just hear the words, think of your future self before you make a decision. That's more than I ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's intentionality that I lacked.
And I think part of it, people just need to hear it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. There's something that I've been saying it to my kids for many, many years. I've said it to myself a million times, and I've said it to a lot of other people, is remember, this is going to come and it's going to go. Every difficult situation that you might be facing, it's going to come and it's going to go. And I just, even recently with someone that was talking about, like, grieving. I know it's very, very hard to do, but even that is, it's going to come, and the pain you feel today, it is going to go. Now, is it going to go away in 5 minutes? No, of course not. But it is going to subside.
Right.
It is going to get easier. It's going to look different. That in the moment extreme pain or extreme anxiety, like, I got an interview tomorrow. I have to have a tough conversation later today. I have to, whatever it is, this massive test. Just understand, it's going to come and it's going to go. And before you know it, it's gone by, like,
and you're on the other side of it. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's the question. When you think of a good investment and investing in your future self, what do you want to look like on the other side of it? What do you want to come out with on the other side of it? Because the important thing is, to the best of our ability, we want to come through the other side with our integrity intact.
Right.
And that's the investment that we're making, is, who is it that God is wanting me to be? Even in this terrible situation that I find myself in,
Right.
even in all of this pain, you always want to look at it like, okay, I want to get to the other side of this, because I know it's going to come and it's going to go. I want to get to the other side and say, yeah, that was hard, but I'm still me.
Yeah. And what comes into my head is, if you're in the difficult situation because you made bad decisions, like if you're living out the consequences of bad decisions, and you hear this radio show, and you say, you know what, I'm going to be intentional and start investing in my future self.
Yeah.
You can still be walking through the consequences and say, okay, I'm going to come out of this with my integrity as much as possible intact, and just start walking and living intentionally. And eventually those consequences start dropping off, and the rewards for being intentional with your life will start taking over. So whether you are not in a bad situation, or you're in a bad situation because of something else, or because of your own decision, this can change the trajectory of your life also.
Yep, absolutely. Again,
Yeah.
Yeah, hope is not lost because of the mistakes, or even because of handling it wrong in the past.
Right. You have a new start today.
Yeah. It's the decision. It's the decision to be fit,
Yes.
to be focused, to be intentional, and to take the necessary time to make those changes.
Right.
It's the number of people that we get to talk to at church that are dealing with the consequences of their their addiction, alcoholism or drug addiction. And for many, I talk to a lot of different guys, they're dealing with the consequences of a pornography addiction. And to see them, even in the midst of it, something happened, their faith changes, their faith grows, whatever it is, where now they're going to make that decision to say, okay, I understand this now. I'm going to make an investment in my future self.
Yeah.
Even though, in a lot of these people's cases, even though I don't see my kids today, you think of all these Teen Challenge people, when you hear all those testimonies when they come to the church, it's amazing the number of those people, moms and dads, they have no relationship because their kids have been taken from them. But where they're at, they understand, I'm making an investment today in my future self as a mom, as a dad, as a grandma, or as a child, because that becomes the mindset is I'm working on today, I'm managing the moment today, but I'm managing this moment in a way that I'm investing in my future.
Yeah.
My future self.
Yeah.
And like what I was telling this young couple that I had been talking to, what you want to do is you think 5 years down the road from this decision right now. If you think 5 years down the road, is your future self going to say, thank you so much for that. I know it was really hard for you to walk through that the way you did, but you did it with integrity. You kept our character intact. Thank you so much for that, because now this is who I get to be today.
Yeah, today is so much better because of that.
Yeah. And when we're in the moment of that pain, it's like anybody that works out. When you're trying to lift heavy weight, it hurts. But you're lifting that weight so you can be stronger tomorrow and next week. So you're going through that pain in the moment in order for strength in the future. You following me?
Yep.
And I think that continues to roll over in, so many
things.
Areas of life. Yeah.
That goes back to that anxiety thing where it was a very broad brush, but to experience a difficult situation and say, this is causing me huge anxiety, but I'm going to continue to press through and just come through the other side, and you did it, that makes you so much stronger for the next time you're in a difficult situation that brings anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
I struggle with anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look back and I see people in my world that have struggled with anxiety. I believe my dad struggled with anxiety, but back then there wasn't a word for that.
Right. Yeah.
But he just pushed through, and I look at our lives and he never let it impact us, but he struggled with it.
Yeah.
Like looking at the things that he did and how he handled things, he was struggling with anxiety, but he never let it affect us kids in a negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just interesting.
Which I would guess would have made an intentional decision to say, okay, this is the moment to have to get through, but I'm going to invest not only in his future, but he's also now the ripple effect of his character, of his integrity, that now flows out.
Yeah.
And that's what ends up happening naturally when we keep our integrity intact and we battle through these situations. The ripple effect of that is it's absolutely amazing. It
is. It gets bigger.
Yeah.
Like you think of a drop in the water, and it goes out in circles, concentric circles, and it just gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's again, there's so many things that we can look back and learn from. And I don't like to wallow.
Absolutely.
Waller?
Not Waller.
Wallow. I don't like to wallow in it, but sometimes I think about it. So I think back to even with my kids, how I handled different situations where the investment I made was in the moment instead of in my future or their future. You guys understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Obviously, there's no possible way to know where everybody that might listen to this is at. But the encouragement I have for you all today, including us, no matter what age, is be in pursuit of a good investment. And when you think of it, whether it's from something as materialistic as your finances, to relationships, to our character, how we handle things, whatever it is.
Or a job.
A job. Be in pursuit of that good investment and be thinking, okay, is my future me Like, what would he or she say about this decision? And am I doing this, and am I making a good investment in it? And again, I wish we had 2 hours to talk about it, because I think we really could talk about different situations. But it's been fun to talk about this. I hope you all walk away with something. Remember this statement: who you are will always be more important than what you have. We hope that you have an amazing rest of this week. God bless you.
Bye now. Thanks for joining In Pursuit with Pastor Bill and me, Denise. We hope you will tune in next Thursday at noon as the pursuit continues. In Pursuit is a production of WAJC, Your Life Radio, on 88.1 and 91.7 FM. WAJC is owned and operated by Maranatha Assembly of God in Forest Lake, Minnesota. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of the owner.